Welcome to Tech Talks. Today we have our guest Kavach Chandra, CTO at FreeStand with us. It's pleasure to have you here, Kavach. And our
Thank you.
host Romesh Khattar, CTO and co-founder.
Hey guys, glad you guys could make it to today's version of Tech Talk as well. And more importantly, thank you, Kavach, for taking out time and joining us over here.
Thank
Correct.
you.
Without taking any more minute, let's quickly get introduced to our guest today, Kavach. Kavach, just please tell us a bit about who you are and where you are working at right now.
I'm the CTO at FreeStand. We're an FMCG engagement platform company. Like we build software and technology to enable and manage FMCG to enable and manage engagement use cases for FMCG brands. And we started a while ago, and we've been at it for some time now, and have seen some success in the sector. Yeah.
Great. Just to get a little bit of understanding, basically FMCG, as in not the entire FMCG, right? You are working in specific vertical within FMCG, right? That's
Yeah.
about sampling and customer engagement. So
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
elaborate
So
more on that?
essentially, what we do is we help brands manage their sampling campaigns effectively. That's what we have built. That's what our technology and that's what our software and our platform does. It allows any large FMCG enterprise to, manage their sampling campaign effectively. Now, as a marketing activity, a sampling activity is the one where, you get a free product to try, and if you like the product, you then buy. So that's the core philosophy behind sampling, and we've added a lot more technology to it, a lot more, given it a lot more data-driven and statistical approach. Yeah.
Great. So essentially, in my opinion, FMCG is one of those sectors, like power sector, where I have worked at earlier in my formative years. It's one of those sectors which kind of have a slow adoption of technology. So, what
Yeah.
has your experience around it?
I mean, the experience has been, I think. What the way that I like to think is as a consumer, as a sector which is named fast-moving consumer goods, adoption of technology is something which is sort of very paced, very steady in nature. These are large enterprises we are talking about. They have a lot of reputation at stake. So what they like to do is they like to take their sweet time deciding whether they want to adopt a certain technology. They want to ensure that the customer experience is not hindered at all. So it takes a certain amount of time for them to adopt technologies, and they're very operationally driven as well. So that is also a key factor in considering any new thing that they try out. So yeah, but I think since the last 5, 6 years, uh, the adoption of a data-driven approach uh, in
Right.
large enterprises in FMCG sector, they've been it's been on the rise as well. Like brands care a lot more about their customers. They want to know who their customers are. They want to have it in a very distilled way, in a very distilled fashion as well. They just don't want to target a large set of audience which they might think might be their consumer. They want to know each and every consumer as personally as they can and to the best of their capabilities.
So, so how have you been able to, introduce these customer insights within the sampling vertical? As in, uh, how have you gone about it?
See, the approach, first and foremost, the approach has always been very consent driven, right? Uh, we've not built any product yet in which the consent of the customer is not explicitly involved, where a customer is sharing their own data. Uh, to build a layer of to build a layer of technology over the operational experience of how a sample comes from a warehouse, gets delivered to the person who's going to end up distributing it. For example, let's say a promoter, right? To the person, then letting the user registered on an application, and then then give the sample. We build the entire tech layer for that. The approach has been kind of like that. I think there's a question.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, Aditya is asking a question around a similar thought itself. Basically, I guess what you guys have been doing, right? That effectively you are providing multiple touch points for a customer's journey to get introduced with the newly launched product, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah,
Or
sort of an omni-channel approach wherein a brand is able to reach out to its customer anywhere they want to, whether it's offline or or online. So I'll give you a basic categorization of all the different types of sampling we do, and I think that will make things a little bit more, you know, clear in that way. Uh, so we do promoter-driven sampling, we do retailer-driven sampling, we do sampling through e-commerce and through quick commerce portals, and then there's the fourth kind of sampling which we have pioneered and invented in India, which we call as the digital sampling. So if I were to give you certain examples, the promoter-driven sampling is anywhere. If you've gone to malls or if you've gone to certain trade shows, there are people who are handing you free samples that, sir, please try it. Please, if you like it, you can then, experience it. That is, we build the entire tech layer for that. Wherein now an FMCG brand is not now a uh, promoter sampling driven through us. Somebody standing there will not directly give you the sample. They will ask you to scan a QR code. Then you have to go through a small journey. The brand connect is done there, and then you get a sample. Then there is also the retailer sampling, wherein if you go to a retail outlet, let's say a certain modern store or even a general trade store, you might get to see that, okay, if you shop for 200 rupees or 500 rupees more, then the retailer hands out you a free sample. That's a tech layer that we've built as well. And then coming to the e-commerce or quick commerce sampling, I'm not sure whether this has happened with you or not, but a lot of times when you order from a company like Blinkit or Zepto or Zomato or Swiggy, then you might be getting a free product along with your order. It gets
right.
added into the cart a lot of times. There's a lot of times that we get those placements done. And then the final digital sampling is when you are on a digital platform on your mobile or on your computer, going through, maybe you're watching a video on a YouTube or a reel on Instagram, and you see a post which says that, you know what, click here and you get to try out this new sample. So in this case, the customer is then redirected to our customer journey chatbot, wherein they end up, the customer interacts with the brand's chatbot. There's an exchange of information, and after that, the sample is delivered right at the doorstep. So this is another thing that we've done.
So in a way, it's a different kind of personalized marketing, right? Like Aditya was saying.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Right. The idea is that every sample that a consumer gets, so the idea is to build the brand connect with their consumer more stronger, more frequent. Like, so if I were to take an example of digital sampling only, right? We did it with one of the largest, skincare brands in the world, in India last year, and the entire journey happened wherein, once the customer claimed the sample online, they were given delivery updates at every. They were given packaging updates, delivery updates. Okay, your sample has been packed. Okay, it's been shipped. Okay, it's in transit. It was received. At that point in time, by the time the customer receives the sample, they are very much delighted and they have very much interacted with the brand so much that they feel, okay, this brand cares about me. This brand really wants me to,
Right.
and the perception that gets built is they're giving me a free product right now. Because free ka de rahe hain. If I buy it, then the
Right.
trust is even higher. Uh,
Right. And
Kavach,
uh,
despite giving it for free, they're also providing you, like they are caring about you. They are keeping you informed at all points.
yes,
And that
yes,
I do believe it's actually an added layer of experience also from a product standpoint.
yeah,
Right.
definitely. I mean, one
But
of the
in a
key
certain
things, yeah,
sense, Yeah, sorry. So, but in a certain sense, I also saw that kind of figure that there is a lot of data you are also collecting in
Yeah.
this entire journey. So, how are you leveraging that data?
So all the data that we collect and all the data that we process, it's done on the behalf of the client only. It's the client's identity. So it's the brand's
Right,
identity that is interacting with the consumer. So we are just the technical and the infrastructure layer. So
right,
while that process is happening, we are able to suggest certain enhancements to the brands. Okay, we can tweak the graphics for reaching out to the consumers in this way. We can probably tweak the journey that the customer is going through on the chatbots as well. So these are all the things that we're able to do. And again, all that data then collected is done for the brand and for the clients.
Kavach, I have a question. Out of curiosity, I want to know that the free samples we get on this quick commerce, Zepto, Blinkit, everything. So it based on the profile of the user, or depends upon the brand that is giving the free sample particularly.
So, see, in that case, so there is no exchange of user data when it is done on quick commerce or a third-party platform, right? Because that user belongs to the quick commerce or the e-commerce company, right? Uh, in that case, what happens is that the uh, the user is targeted on the platform depending upon what the platform allows. So, for example, let's say the platform is Swiggy, and Swiggy is saying that, okay, I will allow you to target certain consumers whose cart value is over 500. Then your sample will get added. So there are platforms which allow for that, and then there are platforms which don't allow for anything. That, okay, any consumer that you want to distribute in a certain geography, if the consumer is ordering any product, then that gets to them.
So, tell me this that then because you are reaching out to consumers from so many different channels, ranging from social to I don't know. I mean, then like SEO, maybe probably or some other platforms like Swiggy and all. Uh, are you kind of catering to India 2 and India 3 as well?
Yeah, I mean, uh, India 2 and India 3, a lot of brands, they specifically target them. So we do a lot of that as well. And like the market is the India 2 and the India 3 market, the interaction is completely different. It's completely, new. It changes as per every geography as well. But yeah, we do target a lot of those as well. Like brands specifically want to reach out who are building their identity in those, because a lot in tier one and in metro cities, a lot of brands have built their identity and now they want to connect with the consumers there. They want to serve the consumers there.
So, how does it change your tech stack?
So, from a stack perspective, our technology, again, it's built for scale. So, if I were to,
I think there's some
Yeah,
connectivity issue.
coverage. Yeah.
Yeah.
and yeah, I think
So,
there was a
sorry,
bit of a,
Kavish, your connection was lost.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
we missed last 10 seconds. Yeah.
sorry. So, yeah, I was saying that if I were to talk a little bit about the tech stack, the stack does not change.
I
All
think
right.
there's
Yep,
some,
connectivity issue.
let him.
Meanwhile, yeah, yeah, while he comes.
We have a question from Abhishek also.
Yeah. So, okay.
We'll yeah,
I guess this will. So, yeah, I'll pick it up once we have
pick
a
it up, right?
bit. Yeah, yeah. I'll pick it up. So let him join that.
Yeah, he has joined.
So,
I
network woes in India.
No, there are definitely some network overs here. I don't know. It should be working fine. I thought it was I could hear you guys, but I could not connect. But anyways, yeah. So from what I was saying about the tech stack, right? So from a stack perspective, so we've built our technology to serve all sorts of So our backend is built in a way that when our whenever we even if we move internationally in terms of geography, it will scale and it will handle all the traffics. It will all the or it handles all the traffic and everything. But when we move to tier two and tier three cities, uh, on on the side where our application is to be consumed on any level by somebody there, a consumer there, or a promoter there, or a retailer there, we have to take certain things in considerations. Like we do think a lot about, okay, what kind of mobiles will they be using? What kind of browser will they be using in those mobiles? And if we are, let's say, loading our application, the front end of our application in a certain way, then what kind of optimizations we need to create so that it does open, how much how much wrapped our link needs to be, or how much link tracking needs to be involved in which part of the process. So yeah, we do take in considerations. So stack remains the same, but the way of approaching how to solve a particular problem is something that
So
changes.
essentially, so in a way, the game lies in user experience design rather than the choice of technology.
Yeah, I mean, at see, we have always as a team, so the entire team, Freestand team, we have a very close-knit, tight tech team, and we are not married to any, technology. Although we do love having those debates, ki, with this is more efficient or that is more efficient, but we are never married to any technology. Whatever serves the best user experience, when it comes to reaching out to the consumer, it is even held at a higher standard that okay, there should be no reason why. I mean, we even think about okay, like if somebody is interacting with us on chatbot, and the chatbot, it's a WhatsApp chatbot, right? We even think about okay, if I send this particular thing to be validated, it will be a network request. That network request will mean a little bit of a delay on this level. First, it will go to our chatbot server, then it will go to our analytical server, and then from that, it will be a reverse MV. So we think about each and every step. We try to reduce uh, API calls as much as we can because when it's a campaign being done in metro or a campaign being done in a tier one city, you have the assumption that okay, network will be there, internet will be there. But when it comes to tier two and tier three, even a little bit of delay can cause customer dissatisfaction. So we try to make sure that it doesn't happen. Yeah.
So, so in a way, you were saying like, so in a way, it kind of also points to Abhishek's or ties in with Abhishek's question, right? I mean, that there is a digital transformation that is going on in India,
Yeah.
and you are kind of working at one of the edges of that within this marketing slash feedback
Yeah. Uh,
of FMCG landscape, right? So, how do you think your experience till now, basis of your experience till now, like how do you think this transformation is defining the future landscape?
so
Decade, probably in modern context of such fast-paced technology developments. I mean, the next decade, who knows? But maybe we can talk about a general future in that sense.
yeah, no, I mean, like with the you know as AI is coming in, as the technology is getting more and more advanced, we are we are seeing new and new solutions coming in every way on almost a daily basis now. I'm pretty sure it's going to become very hourly that 1 hour somebody's released one model and the next hour somebody has trumped that model. That's going to happen very soon as well. So, so the way that the digital transformation is happening across India, FMCG sector, the way that I see is these guys are going to be adopting the technology much more quicker than any other industry now. Because for any other industry, uh, the customer, the like for any other industry, the customer connect is something. While very important, there are other things in which they get a lot more touch points as well. When it comes to its FMCG industry, they have to work like really hard to build that relation, that emotional connection with the brand. And with the new technology coming in, with all the different digital ways of reaching out to a customer, being present with the customer, engaging with the customer, what I see is a lot more personalization happening. So, like I like to always say this thing. that if I were to take a very specific example, that पूरे इंडिया में, especially in India tier one, tier two, tier three, people have two main apps on their phone. One is WhatsApp, and the other one can be any other app for entertainment app. One could be Hotstar, one could be YouTube, one could be a regional app as well. But one of them is WhatsApp itself. So I see that in the next, I'm not sure about how long it will be for the decade, but in the next, I can say this very confidently for the next couple of years, that most FMCG brands will want to connect with their customers on WhatsApp, will want to have that relationship with them, will want, and their customers in India is a very, the way that I have seen it through different sampling campaigns, people in India, customers in India, they're very emotional, like good and bad experience. If it's a good experience, your customer will share that with you as well. Like the campaign that I was talking about, right? We did with the large skincare brand. Their product, it got distributed, and the people who loved it, they would not only just tell it, they would not give a small simple feedback that okay, liked it, while there were a lot of them that were also there. A lot of the feedbacks that we got were that really liked it, skin पे ऐसा feel हुआ, मैंने इतने दिन बाद लगाया. They're trying to describe how their experience with that entire, that one small sample
Every
sachet
detail
was.
will be here.
Yeah, so brands will want to do that, and that is definitely going to happen. Another thing that's going to happen is the brand is going to want to engage. These FMCG brands are going to want to engage their customers consistently and constantly as well, right? If you want to build a customer relationship that lasts for decades, right?
So
They're selling. Yeah,
right,
Ramesh.
right. So if even if they are building so many things, like they really want to engage. I mean, for a technologist like us, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what do you think is essentially changing with respect to approaching these problems? I mean, how are we supposed to think about technology or tech stack? Or suppose, I mean, see, so we are trying to reach out to everyone, right? Even in their intermediate, who are intermediate experience, right? I mean, what are the next things when we see what should one be focusing on in terms of technology adoption or uh, approaching problems, architecting solutions?
So
What is your take on
just
it?
yeah, so I want to get this right. So what you're asking is basically what should people in the field of technology, like who are either budding or experienced, what should they be looking for? What should they be doing to like create solutions for this industry? If I'm
Right,
like,
right.
is that the correct question, right?
Yes. I
So
mean, how are they supposed to, even approach their career? I mean, so that they become relevant or this industry becomes or shows opportunities to them.
yeah, so we were discussing something like this earlier only, and the way that we see it is that, with the see, again, I know AI is being done everywhere, but it is the reality of today, and it is the reality of tomorrow as well. So, as somebody new coming into this, somebody new coming into this field, somebody new coming into this sector, uh, anybody who's building anything for technology, not just FMCG, but anything for that, they should they would need to have an AI driven approach, and not just key, let me just get this to code. Let me get this particular AI to, code for me, or let me get this particular AI to build this solution for me. They will need to have they will need to understand where are all the relevant parts of a particular solution that they're building where AI can be used most. Matlab, it does not need to be forced. You should not be building as somebody who is just entering. You should not be thinking about, okay, let me fix it somehow. Let me put it somehow. What you will need to do is you will need to figure out where is it that in the particular value chain, in the particular SOP, or in a particular process, the AI that you are implementing, and it can be anything. It can be a document reader, or it can be a large language model, or it can be a prediction engine. Where does it actually fit? I would say, do not build by thinking, let me build something with AI, but think of a real problem, think, and then think what are the efficiencies that if an artificial intelligence can come in place can provide it, and then take on that approach. Again, I'll also say कि personal अपने personal workflows में please, to any developer who is listening, to any coder who is listening, please include please include all the help that you can get from ChatGPT or so Cursor or Cloud or whatever is the new model that is coming out. Please keep experimenting with that because you don't know what kind of experience you might be able to get out of it, and you don't know what kind of things you might discover. And while you're doing that, go into have an approach of, I would say, have an inquisitive approach rather than a commanding approach while building applications. So, if I were to take an example, if you're building a simple sign up form, right? Um, Instead of asking the AI to do your job, you can ask it, instead of the prompt being build this for me, you can ask, can you build this for me? And even that little bit of approach, that little bit of change in approach, wherein you are now, asking it, it will then describe a lot more. You'll get to learn a lot more as well. So that will be my advice on that.
So that's what I wanted to also ask you. Essentially, because you are building campaigns for various different brands, effectively it becomes a very uh, customer dependent approach for you, right? If a particular brand is building a specific kind of a campaign, you would probably require WhatsApp or a chatbot built on top of WhatsApp API.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis, if a person is building an experience platform, you would probably want to build a different suite of applications wherein there is a person, like there is some kind of standee there. So it kind of means that you need rapid prototyping a lot. So, what all things are you guys doing at FreeStand from a development perspective while using all these AI tools, modern day AI tools like Cursor and
So,
whatnot? Yeah.
that's very true. Rapid prototyping is something that, I mean, so my co-founders like to have a very iterative approach, and like the entire organization, they've inculcated this into our DNA so much that we have that sort of approach for everything. So even if, let's say, a brand wants to do a particular campaign, and our pitch is okay, you should do it in certain way. So we just don't send a deck that okay, or we just don't send a simple email. We will send a journey to that person, to that stakeholder along with it. So that entire journey, okay, your customer will go through this journey. You will be able to see this. And as things change, this will be the impact created. So we're able to describe that, and prototyping is at the heart of it. The way that we have solved it is that even though, and I have to credit Kunal again, my co-founder for this. The way that we have solved it is he's always had this approach कि यार हम जो भी बनाएंगे ना वो बनाए चाहे हम एक बड़ी लार्ज एंटरप्राइज के लिए बनाएं, बट वो ऐसे बनना चाहिए कि एक D2C फाउंडर यूज कर रहा है उसे. So always having that, self servability built in, you know. So when we always have this, we always like to build this self servability into our products, so that whatever we build, as as I was just saying, that he always says that look, Kavach, I know it'll be easier. It's a low hanging fruit for you to just make this and just ship it, but can you build it in a manner so that our client can also use it, even if they don't use it? I want this to be processed that way. And that has actually led us to build some really great experiences. So a lot of times the brand managers and the users of our platform, they can just come on the platform, check out the different journey. Okay, this is what will happen if I do this. This is what will happen if I do that. So that is something that,
That's
that is how
great.
we have solved for that.
Kavach, I have a question regarding. So you are partnered with a lot of big names like HUL, L'Oreal, and you're working with Nestle. So these organizations are currently working with AI to get demand forecasting, understanding the demand of customers and everything. Even I got an article where Nestle has built their own Nest GPT for their internal use. So, at what on organization point of view, what are the integrations you are doing and how you are managing technology on that side?
See, so uh, uh, So we are very, I'll say we're very, so the term that I like to use is we're very friendly when it comes to building any sort of, technical relationship with anyone, right? A lot of these companies, they have certain technologies in place. And again, as you just mentioned, right, Nestle is coming out with this Nest GPT as
Yes.
well for using a lot of, they have a lot of use cases for which they can solve, right? What the way that we work is we integrate with whatever their technology is, we build their pipeline, and the way that we do it, we spend a certain amount of time with them, uh, trying to understand what is the way in which we can do it in a scalable manner. So my idea of connecting with, let's say, Nestle would be that, okay, we're building this solution for you. We're building this solution with you guys. You can use this. And after, for any sort of transfer of data or for any sort of transfer of information, this is the data pipeline that we can build. And then let's build it in a manner that this can scale. Like, let's say if you're doing it just for KitKat right now, tomorrow you can do for any brand that you have. So we do that that way.
Essentially thinking about scale at the beginning, like at the heart of it, always. That's how
Yes.
actually you build it right. Also, I mean, because it kind of reduces your tact, right?
Yes, it does. It does a lot of times, and a lot of times I think something, because I get into the middle of building a product and then getting consumed by it. That, okay, why is it not being built? How is it? Maybe let's just skip it. But a lot of times again, that scale is something that I'd say Sneh, my other co-founder, she focuses on a lot. That, Kavach, you have to think of scale, and even if so, I've realized it at a lot of points in my journey, in this journey, that a lot of times I have built certain products which I felt were overkill for just about a month and a half. After that, because I built it in a manner which was supposed to be for scale, which was not very apparent to me then, I am a month and a half, I'm just thanking God. Thank you so much that you pushed me or forced me to do that, because now we don't have
Right.
to spend that much amount of time now rebuilding it. So yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's so
Yeah,
right.
there are a lot of questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
there is yeah, yeah. So there's
Yeah,
a
happy to
question
take
from
on.
Bhavin. Yeah. So he's asking like how effective is digital product sampling compared to traditional in-store sampling?
So digital products have, see, every different type of sampling has its own use case. Digital product sampling, very personalized, very well, a one-to-one connection. Uh, you get a very large journey as well. Traditional in-store sampling, if you do it without any technical layer in place as a brand, uh, it is something in which is something you will face a lot more problems. You will face problems such as pilferage, operational issues, samples being not being given to the right consumers. Traditional in-store sampling, when done with the technical layer, technological layer in place, it gets enhanced. Both of them have their own places, depending upon where you are in your product journey, in your where you are in your product branding. You should pick one. And again, we have a software which really helps. So this brings me to one of the AI solutions that we built. So depending upon depending upon the kind of brand that you have, we have a FreeStand chatbot in place wherein you can talk to that chatbot about your brand, what you think your brand is, what your product is. And depending on that, it will then suggest you the right kind of sampling or the blend, or in most cases, the mixture of sampling that you should do. So, for example, let's say you're saying that, okay, I want to target I want to distribute 1 lakh samples in Delhi. So that through years and years of information and through years and year of data that we have collected, we have understood that a particular type of product, how does it work, like what kind of sampling is most effective for it. So it will give you a very blended, very balanced and nuanced approach. Okay, you should in Delhi, you should do 20,000 or 30,000 digital sample, then you should distribute 20,000 with e-commerce, and then rest 50,000 you should do it around your distribution center as well. One of the key things that you do is we map your distribution points with your distribution points with the targeted geographies as well. So then the that AI
Demographic
is
data
able to
of
suggest.
targeted geographies, right?
Yeah, It's able to
Yeah.
even suggest even much more better targeting.
Neat. So, I mean, if we think about traditional in-store sampling, I mean, what kind of technology layers do you have, as in, or are there in prevalence or are upcoming these days?
So uh, I would not be able to talk anything about what are upcoming in there. I can talk about a little bit about how, so how we do it, right? There's something. So if you're distributing, if you're doing a traditional in-store sampling campaign, right? So it's not as if you will want to do it at one store. You will want to do it at 50 different stores or 100 different stores or 100 different locations. So for every place, there will need to be assigned some inventory so you can keep a lag of it, right? Then you will also want to ensure that the person who is distributing those samples, they also have some sort of interface to keep a track of things, wherein, if they've given a certain samples, they're able to, record it. Then you would also want that, okay, the customer coming in should be able to interact with the brand on a digital way in certain way in some cases. And to ensure that, only one sample per consumer is given, we also have the double commit check in place, wherein, if you come to the shop, let's say you're coming to the shop, there's a promoter who is distributing sample and the technology they are using is ours. Uh, you scan the QR code, you go through your small journey, and this journey can be customized as well, kept very short as well, because we know and we understand that people don't like standing in lines as well. So we've made it in a way that 100 people, even 50 people can scan the QR code at once and go through the journey. Then they just simply have to go and show the QR code generated or the code that is generated. The promoter then scans the code and then hands the sample. So double check happens. And once that is done, then there's also the feedback cycle about it as well. Yeah.
QR is coming out to be such an ubiquitous technology. I mean, previously, China like really leveraged it earlier. Now India is picking it up. What are
I
your
think in
thoughts?
see, it's I think in any geography where there's a lot of population density, QR becomes a lot of it becomes prevalent easily. I mean, if you have time, you can stay. Like if there are a lot less people in a room, you can still talk to the other person. But if there are if there are a lot of people in the room, then you want something, which is able to get you answers and quickly as well. So QR comes a lot in handy there.
Right, right.
We have a question
Uh,
from, yeah, Gurpreet also.
yeah, basically, like what gap or inefficiency do you see that in the
There's
FMCG
the
market, which kind of got you motivated there?
So this story is like this is a very different story altogether. Like we did not, I think the company was not built by thinking, okay, let's identify this particular gap, or there was not a lot of market research at the inception that was
Okay.
done in this way. So it was a classic Shopify story. So Konark and Sneh, they wanted to start a uh, cold press juice brand, and
Oh,
Konak's
nice.
entire pitch, he called me up saying that I'm starting this. And I think he was trying out one of the brands, cold press only. It's like, I can make a better juice than this. And I'm starting this. I was like, great, do that. So in the process of it, his whole sales to me, and I think to in his own mind, it was just that, okay, I'll make a better tasting product. And he could not, I think, through various iterations of marketing, trying to market, he could not get to a point where he was like, if I don't let my consumer taste it, how will they get to know that it is
It's better.
better? And then he got into sampling, and then I think both of them saw, okay, this place is just this
Empty.
area, nothing is being done. There's a lot more. I mean, I think they did some sampling at a store or something, and at the end of the day, when they asked for the sheet of papers for all the phone numbers and all, it was not even written in, like, Kunal couldn't even identify the phone numbers in it. And he was like, there has to be a better way to do this, yeah. There needs to be technical layer. And That's when he went down the rabbit hole and discovered the whole, okay, this is a really, interesting space to be in, operate in, and
That's a
build
very
something.
interesting story. So, another question that I kind of thought of before starting this talk was like, I mean, you have been working on a lot of India to India 3 layer products and rapid prototyping as well. I'm pretty sure that there must have been quite a lot of myths that you would have busted till now.
Uh,
Can you share some of those
uh,
from a standpoint of technology implementation? I guess not from product and thus.
I think so. The myths that we have, I think, from a tech POV, the myth would be one of the myths is that it's our assumption that the entire India is digitized uniformly. Like if I were to take an example, we living in cities, growing up here in metros in tier one, we think that okay, everyone has access to the same everyone has access to a mobile handset, which has the same capabilities as mine, or even if it is lower, the benchmark must not be that lower. But when you look at mobile handsets which are being sold in tier two and tier three cities, they are they're Chinese handset priced at 5,000 to 8,000 rupees, and they don't even get like if you build a very heavy web page on them, it becomes very difficult to load on them as well. That's one of the myths that I feel that India is getting digitized uniformly. Even when it comes to networking, you'd think that the entire India has the access to same 4G speed, but it is not. I mean, the internet is there, and like that's why you see a lot of light versions of the app as well. You will see Facebook Lite,
Correct.
Instagram Lite, these versions of the app as well, which are built around to cater to these needs. So that's like that I would say the myth would be that people think that oh, everyone has now WhatsApp on their phone and everyone has the same level of access of information. It's just a
Right.
little bit
Right.
different there.
So in a way, I also kind of feel like when we also kind of thought about today's topic, I mean, intelligent is not just AI. Intelligent is also understanding your infrastructure and appropriately transforming your technology stack around your consumer needs and building that intelligence in your layer. And I believe there is a lot more that's going on in a diverse landscape like India. I mean, we also run a content company. We also have users from very varied networks, varied cities, and we also find that the web page did not open over there probably, and they are coming on 4G network or 5G network. So things like these, you need a lot more data to handle it, and you need a lot more analysis to build really intelligent systems which adapt according to the requirements. So totally with you there. There is Mujtaba Hassan, I guess.
Yeah,
He
he's
has a
asking a
question.
question.
Like, how do you train your model? Like, do you have data for training, or what all different models have you tried? I'm guessing it's more about sampling, like because you are dealing with sparse data sets in a certain sense or small data sets.
Yeah.
I guess the question is more revolving around that.
Yeah. Mujtaba, to answer your question, we've not yet trained any foundational models, right? We use a lot of AI technologies that are built already. So we used OpenAI, we use Google's Document AI, then we use a lot of Amazon's own softwares as well. We are right now we're exploring into how we can leverage Amazon's Bedrock to to run open source models and then have our own um, have our own AI capabilities running on a server somewhere. rather than, using the OpenAI models and OpenAI's APIs.
Right.
Okay, I have now switched to the from the full screen mode, so I'm able to see all the questions there. So let me take on the questions because earlier they were just flashing.
Yeah,
Okay,
right, right. It's okay. So yeah, I mean the question, like I'm covering all the questions, so it's fine.
right.
There's no more new question as such. But so coming back to the myths, the greatest myth that you busted. I mean that the network is not uniform everywhere,
Yeah.
and I mean which kind of gives way for more intelligent infrastructure monitoring and development slash deployment. Um, what do you think? I mean, do you know any anti-pattern that you would have implemented, or can you like recollect any anti-pattern around this that you would have implemented? Like, okay, a web page did not open, or your application is not working out. How did you realize, and then how did you figure out? Okay, this is a standard practice, but it is not working for us.
Uh, I I think I think if I were to talk about uh, anti-pattern, we are consistently, I think, breaking the way that technology is to be built. Like, not just from the perspective of building it for tier two or tier three or for any place which has sort of a weaker infrastructure, but velocity is very important to us. Like, speed is very important to us. We just don't want to be, it's not as we don't want to be building robust products. We want to be building robust products, but we want to be doing that very fast and quickly as well, right? Launching new offerings for the brand so that, new ways that the brands can engage and interact with their customers. So in that, what we end up doing is that a lot of times, um, we try to identify certain specific parts of a particular application and focus on building the user experiences entirely around that. So that helps a lot. So if I were to take an example, if I were to host a web page for an FMCG brand, I would uh, I would make sure that it is as light as possible, because my assumption will always be that okay, this page can be opened anywhere. It needs to be as asset light as it can be, right? Coming down to even deciding which font which font to use, which would be a heavier font. Do we need to include any images? And I think we've not gone there yet, but soon we'll be there as to see, okay, how much text is even being loaded on that page. So that there, and a lot of times we want the way that we want to do is it that we don't, because a lot of times on the client's end, on the client side, basically when a page is being served to a end consumer, they might not have the best device in place. What we try to do is we also try to do render the entire page from the server only, so that there is no processing or anything that needs to get done from on their end, and it just gets taken care of beforehand.
Right. Essentially, I mean, that's one of the biggest anti-pattern we also kind of realize that for India, things like React don't work when we are talking about tier two, tier three network, cities or people in tier two, tier three cities. It just does not scale that beautifully as the older SSR ecosystem does.
True, true, true. That is a finding that I can echo here. That I mean, uh, there are certain things that certain things that work, but largely, I would say that a lot of times we've also discovered that okay, the simplest solution would be to load as light of a page as we can, and have it as much preloaded as we can, and just
What is the
let's not
smallest page size you have ever been able to achieve in an SSR page?
yeah, am not I'm not kept track of
Sure.
it. I'll have to ask one of my teammates. They will be able to tell that, but I've not kept a track of that.
It's just it's one of the most trickiest problem. I mean, when we first discovered that, okay, we used to at one point of time deliver like 90 kb compressed page size, and then we used to think, okay, this is fast enough. This is fast enough. And then we came to the realization, okay, 90 KB compressed page size is good enough to load, but it performs poorly on devices. So then the iterations started. So I mean, those kind of things are really an eye opener at times, right?
See, page size is not something I can say, but I'll tell you. So, since our idea is that always we need to be connecting with the consumer on the channel that the consumer is most comfortable with. Matlab,
Correct.
I'm not going to get any props for having a web page loaded on your page for a free sample. Uh, if I can do it on WhatsApp, right? That's much more communicative channel that you have on your phone. Everybody's comfortable with it, from grandparents to kids. And so
Even my
in that,
mom uses that for Tata Sky to order a movie.
Recharge.
yeah, I mean, you have entire journeys of half of the SaaS applications I've seen. A lot of times I've used these platforms, I've used these services. Half of those things they are able to do it like they're able to manage their customer journeys. A lot of the brands, especially. So I was very recently, I was trying to get an appliance fixed at my place, and they had just provided a WhatsApp number. WhatsApp number was present. So I thought that, okay, let me check it out, how much of it is automated. It was entirely automated. It generated a ticket. I'm able to see all my tickets. I'm able to see status. I can query it, and through different automations and different menu items that are present there, uh, you can do almost everything related to the warranty of your product, to the service of your product. And they were also able to they were trying to upsell me. I'm still debating whether I want to buy the other product or not, but based on the experience I've had so far, it's great. Even they assigned the same person, and everything happened on there as well. So for to talk about the efficiencies, right? uh, I think a while back, we were trying to validate consumers, different fields of consumers, because if it's a chat, since it's a chatting interface, there is no way that I can program into WhatsApp to see, okay, whether you're using the right characters or not, or you're not using a different, you're not putting in any foreign characters or anything like that. So what we need to do is we always, once we collect the input from the users on WhatsApp, we send it to our servers, and then it validates it, okay, whether this input is it does fit our criteria or not, or whether we need to ask for more information from the user. Sometimes, a lot of times, we ask for the addresses of the users so that we can deliver the samples right at their doorsteps, right? And people might end up just giving a very small little, I live in Delhi. So if you ask them, please enter your address, they will just say, okay, Delhi, and then it will go to our server. It will validate, okay, where in Delhi we need more information on this. So it does all of that automatically and intelligently. It requests more information from the user. The user then types. So for just this bit, right, where it comes from, so the journey then becomes user sees the question, answers it. That goes to the WhatsApp servers. There is that is a place where I can try no efficiency, not in my control. From WhatsApp servers, it comes to my server. So in this part, we were trying to say, okay, what is the data that we are going to be getting? What is the how much of the request? And then I will need to send it back as well. So what is the while sending it back,
Really fast. Right,
what is the most efficient way? If I mean,
right, right.
uh, do I even need to send true, or can I just send one or zero, or that kind of stuff? Send
Absolutely.
only the information
So,
that is needed.
quick question, and then we'll probably wrap it up. Then, have you ever ran into scams?
Yeah.
Part and parcel of every
And
So
how did your intelligent systems
operation
figure it
business.
out?
scams is I will not say scams, but people see. We're an aspirant nation. We're a nation of aspirants, right? We want, if we get it, and no, we're a nation who loves free stuff, right? And while we do a very sharp targeting from the onset as well, right? We want to target the right consumer for the brand only, but there's always a very small amount of spillage that happens. Okay, if you try to target a certain class of people online, then there will always be a few people that are going to be outside that class. And in that, a lot of times people what they want to do is they want to get as many samples as they can. So
Game the
we've had,
system, so to speak.
yeah, to game the system in a certain way. And so that had become a challenge for us, but we solved it in a like with one of the most, I would say, a very typical use of AI only. And the way that we did it was that we would take in the addresses of the users. So people try a lot, by the way. Even we have a unique phone number check. Like on one unique phone number, will be able to as if you
That's
have a
fairly
unique phone number, only
straightforward.
then you will be able to claim a
Right.
sample and will be able to claim one sample. But there was this. There are a couple of people who tried with like 30, 40, 50, 50 different phone numbers on the same address. So to stop that and to make sure that it doesn't happen, we built an entire system wherein, when the addresses are coming to us, it analyzes the addresses, it checks those addresses, saves the vector embedding of those. Then on the basis of that, it finds the cosine similarity, and if the similarity is greater than 90%, then it puts that order in review, that particular sample order in review. And earlier on, it would get this review system also used to get to a very large number. Like it would we process somewhere around 10,000, 15,000, 10,000, 15,000 samples a day. And this would analyzing those 10,000, 15,000 samples coming down big, the number would come to somewhere around 5 to 6,000, and it would take hours for somebody to, manually sit and segregate, okay, this is real, this is not real, this is a duplicate address, don't give this. And, uh, so to even to automate it further, what we've done is we've built something called we've used something called agentic consensus, wherein now we are sending these addresses where there is a doubt of duplicacy, two different AI agents, two different AI models. So there is OpenAI in play, there is Cloud, there is Perplexity, not Perplexity, there's another one in place as well. And then those agents then return us according to them that whether these are similar addresses or not. And then there's a consensus mechanism built, which that, okay, if there's a lot of confusion, then put this thing into further review, else process it. So if
Else,
all three of them agree that, okay, this is duplicate, then it is duplicate. If all three of them disagree, then we send it for review. And, it's brought down the time for review time from 8 hours, 9 hours to, I think right now it takes only 1.5 hours. And that's because
it's
there's a lot of orders in place.
that's like 8x improvement there, right there, I guess.
Yeah. And that's been done. I should be really commending my team on this. I mean, they were the ones who were iterating it quick and quick. And this happened in a matter of 30, 35 days. Like from
Oh,
version one to
deployment
version
production.
to production. Yeah.
Great, great.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, all the questions from my side. Kavach, thanks a lot for your time. And before we close this conversation, I mean, would you like to leave a message to all the aspiring developers, budding developers whom we are reaching out?
I see a message I would say is okay, so something on the lines of, you know, and also this is something that I've experienced a lot. A lot of people ask me, okay, what should we build? What should we make? What should we put in our CVs? How to learn and how to figure out the perfect roadmap, or to get to a place where you can become a 10x engineer or or a or a CTO or somebody leading the technology. I would say the one thing I would say which is that you should always, when you're starting with learning something, try to find something really personal that you want to solve with it. If you want to learn how to
Yeah,
build, if you learn how to code in React, or if you want to learn how to code in, for an Android application or for an iOS application, build an application which is really, really niche and which is really for you. Because I
it
think,
may be a repeat even, I believe. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
if you find something like I need a good to-do list for myself. Build it.
Yes. Yes, I mean, my cousin, when he was back in college, when I was, I think I had graduated then, but he asked me that, okay, Bhaiya, what do I need to build and what do I need to take care? So I told him that, build something which is really personal to you. Build something which you think you'd want to use daily. So he was learning German at that time. So it's like, okay, I'll build a German dictionary for me. Now there are endless German dictionary apps on the Play Store and on the Apple Store as well. But he built it, and the way that he built it was he tried to explore each and every feature of it. That okay, this is what
Right.
this, and it got so personalized to him that he ended up he ended up later realizing that okay, toasts in Android is something that I need to build, and he ended up later on publishing an open source library for toasts as well. So
Exactly.
got emotionally connected to it. Because I've seen a lot of people try to follow tutorials only, and that leads to just tutorial hell. That you learn one thing, then you move on from it, and then you don't
Correct.
end up using it. So try to build something personal side, try to build something niche, and
Essentially, exactly. I
Thank you
mean,
so
I
much.
totally second
Yeah.
that thing. I totally second that opinion, Kavach. I mean, build it for yourself, get emotionally attached, then you will learn because that keeps you motivated.
yeah,
Otherwise, you do and you forget, you move on. So,
true, true.
so that's how we learn by doing, you know. Great, great. Thanks a lot for your time, Kavach. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
I
thank you
mean,
so much, Kavach. It's pleasure listening to you, and thank you, Romesh, for your time. Both of you,
Thank you
and
guys. Thank you for having me.
our
Uh,
users, our developers would definitely love the insights you have given.
that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
guys. See ya.